Guys, good Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening now, 5 p.m. Eastern time right now. I'm going to give folks a minute to hop on. We've got multiple tornado warnings right now, and I just realized I didn't update my title here, but we'll just keep going with it. So we've got multiple tornado warnings right now across southern Indiana and northern Kentucky. I'm going to switch over here to our current clarity radar. We can see this pink polygon here indicating a confirmed tornado here. It crossed the Ohio River near Uniontown, now working towards Mount Vernon, Indiana. So again, I'm gonna give people a moment to kind of hop on. Just gonna check out the stream to make sure that it's going okay. Let me know if you all can hear me good as well, and we will kind of continue to chat about this. But two tornado warnings right now in Indiana. One is this one that's heading right towards Mount Vernon. If we turn on our rotation tracks here, you can see exactly where the storm has tracked west of Morganfield, Kentucky, Uniontown towards Mount Vernon, Indiana, and then the secondary one that just moved east of Evansville, and it's going to include a tornado warning for areas like Elliott and Elberfeld, Wheatonville, Millersburg. You can see the rotation track on this particular storm as well. If we go to the wide zoom, we also have a tornado warning just north of Litchfield, Kentucky. And so this particular storm is pushing further off to the north into the east. If we turn back on our radar here, you can see multiple cells now developing across Kentucky. And so if you're across central and southern Indiana right now, you're probably noticing that the sun has started to come out. It's cleared out a little bit, especially down to the south. They've been having that a little bit more frequently throughout the day today, allowing the atmosphere to destabilize, setting up more favorable conditions for rotating storms here. And again, we have the one confirmed tornado on the ground heading right towards Mount Vernon, Indiana. If you have friends and family in that area, in Mount Vernon, Indiana, would highly recommend you tag them in this, share this with them, make sure that they are taking shelter right now. This is a confirmed tornado there with that particular storm. So also, if you all have any reports or seeing any footage or pictures or anything, feel free to drop them in the comments. Shoot us some messages on our Facebook page or on our Twitter page. I'm more than happy to kind of look at those reports, share them if we need to, and pass along any pertinent information. So again, two tornado warnings right now. One is heading right towards Mount Vernon, Indiana. I'm going to go over to a dual radar screen here, guys, and show you all what things are looking like in terms of the velocity and in terms of the wind here with this particular storm. And so this is just going to kind of show you all a side-by-side look at rotation with this particular storm. So let me make sure I'm on the right radar dome here. I am. You can see a couple of things with this. Number one here, guys, you're going to see the hook. This is a very kind of a classic hook type of look, passing right across the Ohio River right now. I mean, this is, in terms of rotation, likely right along the Ohio River. You kind of have your toward the radar here. It's your inbound and your outbound. Your rotation is right here. I would say that over the past couple of scans, guys, that this has weakened a little bit, which is a good sign. The rotation has kind of gotten a little bit broader, but still enough rotation to keep this tornado warning on it. And we do here, guys, have potential for additional activity as this continues to move further off to the north. So, guys, real quick, I'm going to see if I can't patch Michael in on this live stream as well. Give me 1 second. All right, guys. So Michael may be hopping on here too to kind of assist and watch, because again, we do have multiple tornado warnings now. 3 tornado warnings across southwestern Indiana and northern Kentucky. This particular storm, too, guys, certainly capable of producing a tornado as it pushes off to the north into the east, southwest of the Louisville metro area. Now, if I kind of had to circle an area, guys, right now that I'm most concerned about with these storms over the next couple of hours, going to be this particular area in here. And so Cincinnati, Evansville, Louisville, Bloomington, Columbus, New Albany, Indiana, Clark County here, North Vernon. These are the areas I'm most concerned about some tornadic activity as we work over the next couple of hours. And part of the reason for that is because things have cleared out. We've seen more clearing, more sunshine here that's leading to these threats as these storms continue to develop. So let me go back to our clarity radar here, guys, and to kind of just give you a wider picture. And I want to show you our threat map. If you weren't with us earlier, our threat map of what we're expecting as we go throughout the rest of the evening hours today. And so I'm going to pull that up, pull up our clarity radar here. So this is the radar that all of our clients, all our subscribers have access to. A new severe thunderstorm warning here near Beaver Dam. And again, just taking a wide view at this is all from the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. The actual low with Beryl is kind of near St. Louis, pushing further off to the north and to the east right now. And so this area in here, out ahead of this line, these storms forming near Evansville, near Owensboro, near Radcliffe and Elizabethtown. Those are the initial storms I'm concerned about rotating. And then we'll need to watch this line as it pushes further off to the north and to the east to bring maybe a more widespread wind threat as this activity pushes northeast towards the I-70 corridor. And that will be later on into this evening. So again, tornado warnings right now. Just west of Evansville, that's going to include Mount Vernon, Indiana. We have the second one that is northwest of Boonville, Indiana, including Elberfeld. And then a third tornado warning that is just north of Litchfield, Kentucky, south of Hardinsburg, Kentucky. That one, that particular cell, and these cells in general that are here near Hardinsburg, near Hartford, near Litchfield, those will be ones we need to watch for the Louisville metro area. And so, if you've got friends and family in the Louisville metro area, would highly encourage you here to share this with them, tag them in the comments, because I think that's kind of the next area to watch, especially with some of this clearing that's happened here across southern Indiana and northern Kentucky. I'm looking out my window now, and we've got pretty much blue skies that we're dealing with. And so certainly a little bit concerning in terms of instability increasing, especially across the southern third of Indiana. I'm going to put the chat on here and take a look at some of your all's comments. So if you have questions, I can kind of take a look at some of those, and then I'll zoom back in on that confirmed tornado across southwestern portions of Indiana. Sam says, I like the look of the stream now. I appreciate that, Sam. We've worked hard on kind of making this setup look nice. A lot of times we just hold the old phone up to the camera, but this is actually easier because easier to stream on multiple different platforms. So, all right, guys. Franklin, Indiana. I think wind is the biggest threat there. The further north you go, where you're still dealing with rain, going to be a lower end threat in terms of severe weather activity. And again, I think the tornado threat is highest further down to the south. And that's going to include Bloomington. It's going to include Columbus. It's going to include Cincinnati and Louisville. I don't really think the risk is going to expand much further off to the north. I'm going to actually go in here real quick and just pull up the severe weather risk map for day one. This orange area, and I really don't disagree with this, anyone in this orange area, that is where I'm most concerned about rotating storms and tornadoes as we go throughout the evening and go throughout the early overnight hours. If you're in the yellow area, and so that's going to include Bloomington, it's going to include Columbus and points north. So you kind of take a line from Bloomington, Columbus, and points north towards Terre Haute, towards Indianapolis, towards Greenwood and Richmond. Those are the areas that I'm most concerned with a potential damaging wind threat with storms that develop as we work into this evening and into the early overnight hours. So, guys, going to take a look here. Let's see. What's up with the storm in Elberville? We are in shelter. Not sure if there's anything on the ground or not. I don't see any reports here, guys, of a tornado on the ground with this storm near Elberville or Elberfeld, excuse me. But there is a tornado. There is rotation on it. If we pull up our rotation tracks here, guys, you can see that there certainly has been rotation with this storm, but it is starting to weaken. The rotation with this storm has weakened. I would imagine that they'll allow this warning to expire given that. The secondary system, the secondary cell near Mount Vernon, Indiana, has also weakened its rotation. So I suspect that they may also allow that to expire. I'm going to go back over to the velocity image here just so we can take a look and see if perhaps, see here, that rotation has also weakened. And so I'm going to go over here to the radar and we will turn off the drawing tool and we'll zoom in here at these two. Still some rotation here, guys. Still definitely some broad rotation across the Mount Vernon area. Definitely would still be in shelter and keeping an eye on this particular storm very, very carefully if you were in Mount Vernon, Indiana, right along the Ohio River. Now, this secondary storm, to me, guys, there's not a lot of rotation here. There's not a whole lot happening. I would imagine that they're going to allow this to expire here as it continues to push further off to the north and to the east. But then we may want to watch this system. Not a lot of rotation on it yet, but you're kind of starting to see that hook, which would indicate maybe some rotation starting to develop here near Hatfield and Richland City. So that'll be a storm that I think we need to keep an eye on southeast of Boonville here over the next hour or so. All right, guys. Central Indiana has seen very little in the form of rain. Is that supposed to change this evening or more scattered in nature? I think initially scattered, but more rain begins to fill in as we go further into the early evening or the evening and through the overnight hours, early overnight hours. All right. Bloomington, really anytime from now through 11 p.m., going to be dealing with the severe storm risks in the forecast. Again, along and south of Bloomington, I think the tornado threat, that's where it's most likely going to be. All right. This is a good question, and I'm going to throw this up here on the screen because I do think that it's a good question. Will the tornadoes being produced be on the weaker side or the stronger side? Historically, with tropical cyclones, they tend to be on the weaker side. Can't 100% rule out a stronger one. There's always the anomaly, but I would favor most of these to be on the weaker side rather than strong EF3, EF4, EF5 type of tornadoes. All right. So guys, I'm going to keep an eye on this Mount Vernon one here for another minute, and then I'll probably hop off, take a quick break. I'm going to probably get Michael on here around 5:30, and we can go into the forecast in a little bit more detail. So tag a friend here, share this, and we'll have more updates to come throughout the evening, especially if we have any additional tornado warnings that are issued. Evansville, you're not 100% out of the woods yet. There's another line out to your west. Going to be keeping an eye on Jasper, Vincennes, Louisville, and then eventually areas further north like Bloomington and Columbus as we work over the next several hours. So again, I think the biggest concern right now is this tornadic storm. There was a tornado on the ground with the storm right in Mount Vernon, Indiana. If we turn on our correlation coefficient real quick, which just tells us if there's any debris lofted in the air, not seeing a strong signal for that right now. I think that perhaps this tornado has lifted, but there's enough rotation for me to still have some cause for concern in the Mount Vernon area. And so that's the one to keep an eye on. If you're in that warning, remain in shelter 100%. If you're in this warning here, I would expect that it's going to be allowed to expire. I would still, out of an abundance of caution, stay in your shelter area. But I think the biggest concern is the Mount Vernon here right now. So I'm going to take a quick break, hop off here, get Michael on here, and we will be back for additional updates over the next couple of hours, perhaps around 5:30 in about 10 minutes for our next update, pending how these storms evolve in the next 10 minutes. So thanks, guys, for hopping on. We'll be back. Be sure to like the page, follow the stream, and we will continue to have updates